Doc, good morning.
Good morning, fellas.
A lot happening, Doc.
I love that. We're in the business. It's perfect for us.
How you feeling,
Russ?
Russ?
You guys complaining?
No, I think it's great.
It's great. It's great.
How you feeling about, well, we knew Ron was going to go. It was just a matter of when. But how you feeling about Harris going out and already plucking guys off the street to try and, on this advisory board, including Bob Myers, who's been a winner in another sport?
Well, I feel great about it because the last 7 weeks or since ownership and being stagnant, I never feel good about that. I'm relieved that they've been behind the scenes and they've been balling out. Myers, when you get winners, and he's a Bruin.
That's right.
And so, it's all good. I'm excited about that.
And Doc, what's crazy about it is clearly this wasn't something that just happened yesterday morning. Like, this has been in the works for weeks, if not months, and Harris and the ownership group, they kept a lid on it the entire time. There were no leaks. The news just came out, like I want to say it was 10 or 15 minutes after the news of Ron's firing. So I was impressed by that.
Yeah, we're so used to the leaks, and we've been, more like Access Hollywood based on how we cover the team. And now it was just, I was relieved in that the due diligence now doesn't guarantee that our course will change, but it's a good feeling, especially coming off being at that stadium and seeing that stadium middle section in blue and gray. I needed that because I was depressed as hell, and so I feel much better.
What do you make of the candidates that they've requested permission? Let's go with the OCs or DCs first, for the head coaching position. The Ben Johnsons, McDonald, Slovics, Quinn, Morris. Which of these guys jump out at you?
None to me,
Really?
because Joe Gibbs didn't jump on anybody's calendar. Now, talk radio wasn't no social media. All of this is good fodder for us because we're in the industry. If you weren't, nobody follows people, bios and things like that until situations like this. So it's great if you got to fill a column or radio show, but in the end, the guys like Myers, that's their job. Guy like Adam Peters, that's his job. And even if you pick somebody, you don't know it's going to work until you got the right people in the room that can help it go, accelerate it. It's talent. It never changes. It never changes. It's not about what round. It's the person in the chair. So these people have got to be able to identify dogs. Give me some canines and not these poodles that they've been bringing in.
I kind of taken that. So in other words, your approach is like whoever they settle on, that's fine. I'll get behind them and support them, but I don't have a horse in the race. Is that right? Is that the kind of tack you're taking?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's not what I do.
Right.
In order to make that kind of decision, you got to put in a lot of work. You'd have to know them. You'd have to interview them. You have to look at their background. Come on, man. It sounds great. You can sound real smart, but in the end, you should bet on it. Would you put your money on any individual? That's how I would ask you. And you guys are experts at that.
No.
Who would you put your money on?
None of them.
We're
Honestly.
experts at putting our money on.
Listen, the one thing I've said, Doc, repeatedly is I would never want to be a GM. I'd never want to be an owner. I wouldn't want to have to pick the quarterback. I wouldn't want to have to pick the coach.
You take the payday, though.
I'd like to pay.
You would. No, I disagree. If it was your thing, you'd be all over it.
That's what I mean.
Because that's what you do.
Right. That's why I tried to tell him yesterday.
Well, I guess, yeah. If I was in the industry,
right.
But I'm just saying, I'm not arrogant enough to think that I could step in and make the right call. I couldn't.
Well, yeah, but you'd have a criteria. And I'm not an expert at it. But I'll tell you what, I have interviewed enough champions and been on championship teams and been in championship environments. I know exactly what to ask. And I know exactly what kind of person I'm looking for and people I need. That I know because I've got years and years of experience in that category. So that's the process, the vetting process that I'm interested in. Clearly, I know what I don't want because we've had more than examples of that. Snyder had 7 head coaches and 2 interims. You would have thought he was here 100 years. We're experts at failure. and picking the wrong people for the wrong reasons. Like, why am I trying to hire somebody that just got fired for failing? That's your first mistake. I'm looking for people that understand what success feels like because they're successful. And they know what they're looking for so they don't get hoodwinked or get conned. Guys say whatever they think you want to hear. I want to go look at a film and cut on a guy's backside, not on the play side, backside. Is that guy busting his tail to get an extra block? I'm looking for guys with special team type mentality. I don't want poodles. I want pit bulls. And in order to do that, you got to know what you're looking for. So the one thing about Myers that you know for a fact, I'm from Southern Cal. The Warriors were awful. Nobody ever even discussed them. You didn't even know they had a team. So when I tell you he resurrected the dead, that's for real. You know him as Glamour, Champion, Steph. They revolutionized the game. They went small ball. I need people smart enough to be able to pick the right coaches, keep them, and grow the product.
Well, let's be
Not
clear,
just
Doc.
these
Let's be
media
clear.
hypes.
They drafted Curry and Klay Thompson before Myers arrived, and Mark Jackson had them going in the right direction. Now, I'll give Myers credit. He hired Steve Kerr. They started winning championships.
Yeah, they kept him. They managed them. Deal with superstars. They got Draymond Green there.
Yep.
They manage it. They get around it. See, that's the beauty about talent. Every piece of the puzzle is not perfect, but can you work with it and win with it in the interim, or are you dealing with the things we've dealt with? We know what not to do, in my opinion. I'm looking for guys that know how to get it on the field so that it works and we win on game day. Not a promotion. Even the promotions. Dude, I don't want to go through the list again of what not to do. So I'm looking for smart people that are highly aggressive. I'm not looking for guys that want to do interviews. I'm looking for guys that hate doing interviews but love drawing circles, X's and O's.
Doc, so they've got the number 2 pick in the draft. They have to hire a GM. They have to hire a head coach. Listening to Josh Harris yesterday, they're going to do this concurrently. He said, ideally, we'd like to have the president of football ops in place to hire the coach. Do you have a problem with this approach where he says, we're just going to try and bring in talent? So they might hire a coach before they hire the GM.
Yep. Yeah, you got to get the best people. I know what sounds ideal, but you don't really know. You just don't know. Bobby Beathard didn't cut his teeth here. He was with Shula in Miami. Joe Gibbs was with Coryell. Success leaves clues. So you got to get people that have been around people that have seen success. They know what it looks like and feels like. And so when you get winners in, the first thing I'm going to ask the guy is, hey, man, what's your handicap? And if he's 12 or under, he can never get the job. Yeah, that's my first criteria. You won't be on a golf course during Senior Bowl. See, that ain't going to ever happen because you're not even going to have a bag because you're going to be in there. The guy I with, he slept at the park 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Right.
See, so once you've seen that, I've seen that. I mean, when you interview these guys, like I've had the unbelievable pleasure of interviewing Red Auerbach. And when you talk to Red Auerbach and John Thompson, and you talk about guys who are they're all fanatics. It's all about what's in front of them. And that to me is the most important thing about guys who have won. Like, for example, Eddie Robinson. I heard all the stories. I played for him for a week. I couldn't wait for that week to end. I went to Doug Williams. Doug, is this dude that way all the time? He said, yep. It was an all-star game, and we sprinted like it was training camp. He's a fanatic. And what these guys have in common, like Auerbach, Jim Rat, they watch more pickup basketball games than you would ever imagine. And so they're not normal. Everybody, you just don't get it. You want to do this abnormal. I don't want the guy that wants to cheese up and do all the interviews and thinks he's a talk show host. I'm not interested in that. The Belichick type interview, that's my kind of guy.
Well, it's good that Harris came out yesterday and said, all right, here's the deal. We got to be quick with this. And they already got an interview today. Who's the guy they're interviewing today? Borgonzi. They're doing the Chiefs assistant general manager.
Yep.
So they're already starting there, and they got a bunch of other guys.
Yep.
And then you've seen the names of the coordinators that they're going to interview, or at least they've requested.
That was interesting. It was I like that.
Yeah. Who jumps out at you on that list?
All the guys that they mentioned had gone. Obviously, Detroit has a great story because they're where we are. Where we are now, they were. So I want a guy that understands he was lost and found daylight. You know, you want, and people talk about struggle. Nobody wants to do it, but when you succeed after struggling, you feel great about it. I'm not asking a guy for directions that doesn't drive. It sounds crazy, but people do crazy things in the NFL because they're wealthy and they can lose and still make a fortune. These businesses are weird because you can fail and still win. I need somebody that's desperate and really got to act like it because you really aren't because they're filthy rich. All these programs make a lot of money. But Detroit was awful.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who they beat? Guess who they snapped their streaks against? Us. I was there. They hadn't won in forever. Who they beat? Us. Bears hadn't won in a year. Who they beat? They beat us. Cincinnati, they beat us. See, I know I sound like a victim because I was there. So when you go through this, I know now I don't want a BSer. I want somebody that has been battle tested, is in this to win it, and is a fanatic.
Well,
and you're not going to like to do interviews with him.
Doc, that could be Dan Quinn. This is a tweet from J.P. Finley. I just lost it, actually, but I'll paraphrase it. He's basically saying he's a leader of men. He's the best candidate out there right now. He got that from, I think, an AFC coordinator, that's the guy that you want to bring in right now.
You know why I like him? Because he hadn't got over the fact of that Super Bowl that Belichick and Brady beat him in, but he was there. He's in Dallas where it's hard to win because of Jerry, but his unit is excellent. And he has a type. He's identified the type of talent he looks for. They're great pass rushers. They are athletic as hell. Their linebackers are – see, he's got a plan. He's not experimenting. And we used to hate anybody from Dallas. Right now, man, I don't give a crap about that fake rivalry. I need to get out of last place. And anybody that can help me do that, I'll go pick him up at Dulles.
And Dan Quinn went to Salisbury State, and he would hang out at, Secrets in the summer.
I forgot that nugget about
I used to interview him when I was doing college radio at Salisbury. I think he's going to get a job. I think he's going to get one of these. I guess there's 5 openings now. Who knows what happens with New England and Tennessee if Vrabel leaves, so add a couple more. But I think Quinn will get one of those.
Are you sure he wants it?
Oh, I think he wants a head job. I don't know if he wants it here. I just think
that's my point. No, anywhere. I mean, he's going to leave Jerry world.
Oh, I think so.
Now that the curtain dropped, it put Jimmy in the ring of fame. Don't be surprised if their luck alters a little bit.
Really?
I know you as a wagerer. I know you probably already knew that, so I just threw that in.
I would think that he would want the job again.
Where do you stand on the quarterback situation we were throwing out there? The idea CK was trying to sell us on the trying to go after bring back Kirk, bring back an old veteran. That way you can draft a receiver, build. You don't have to use your other assets to move up in the draft necessarily to get the quarterback you want. I think the fan base would reject that though.
Well, it's interesting. It was good stuff, and I heard it. You don't have to bring in – well, it depends. It depends on who's here. I like the Kansas City deal, but do you have Smitty to mentor him? If you are able to keep your quarterback situation the same, you have a unique individual that was willing to train someone that he knows he's better than. You got to get the right guy to mentor your puppy. I assume you're going to take a quarterback with the second pick. Then have your veteran play and learn, slow walk him, as I like to refer to it as. That is successful if you can afford to do it. And you got to have the right guy in that room. Brissett, that blew my mind what this kid did for Howell. Because most guys, their ego won't allow them to be submissive. This guy put team first. You already have that guy here. Now, he probably wants to get the hell out of here since he was lied to, wasn't given a shot. But you can work that out. It's called dollars and cents. But you got to get the right guy. And then if you draft a rookie at the number 2 spot, man, it's interesting. It depends on who the guy is.
Right.
Because you're going to have a daycare. Drafting the wrong guy is we've done it before. I don't need a guy that's immature. I don't need a guy that's trying to promote himself before he's thrown his first touchdown pass. You got to get the right person. And that's what I think a guy like Bob Meyer is built for. They'll understand personalities.
Right.
And they won't blow that. If you bring in a spoiled brat, I'm telling you, you're dead. It'll ruin you.
Yeah.
Doc, thanks as always, man. We'll talk to you again
Hey, guys,
next week.
it's been a
We
pleasure,
appreciate
man.
it.
Thank you, buddy.
Of course.
Kick ass.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you,
you, pal.
Doc. It's Doc Walker, host of the Burgundy and Gold post game show here on 106.7 The Fan.